Welcome to Voice of the Fat Mantis and my top 10 best shows of 2022. Excuse my voice, excuse the pain that is clearly in my eyes. I have hate plague. Hate plague is when you invite family over for the holidays and one of them, probably one of the little kids, brought some sort of illness and everyone in the house gets sick in time to say goodbye. And after they leave you sick and broken and sad. But I know you're thinking, if you're delusional and sick and sweaty, how can we trust your list? Well, I wrote this list when I was healthy, and we can trust healthy Mantis. Now, before we jump into that, I would love it if you liked, shared, and subscribed. The more subscribers I have, the more likely I am to heal up and feel better. So will you please help a brother out? Getting into it.
Number 10.
Star Wars Andor. One of the most annoying shows in the world because you love it and you also hate it, but you also love to hate it. And these are not three simultaneous emotions, you get them throughout the episodes. It is, at the time, the best stars you'll ever get. Best character developments. This season is responsible for doing the top 2 best monologues I've ever seen in Star Wars. There are some of the best Star Wars characters in this, particularly the Luthen character. There's a lot of just deep stuff going in, and also you get to see other aspects of the Empire, or the galaxy, if you will, including how their prison system works, how their justice system works. How is it like for a working class person? This show is very obsessed with being anti-cop, class descriptions. It's all practically socialist, but I still love it. It's a good time. Why is it so low on my list? Because honestly, they need to learn to edit. They did in 12 episodes, which you could probably get away with in 8. But still, check it out if you're a patient person. But its art form cannot be denied.
Number 9.
Stranger Things Season 4. Now, Stranger Things has a weird evolution. Its first season was immaculate and utterly amazing. Its second season was complete trash. Its third season was at least an improvement. Somewhere lie between there. The question is, what was Season 4 going to bring? I gotta say, some of the best Stranger Things I've ever seen. Now, I gotta say, the Russia plot, not the greatest thing in the world, but still, there's a bunch of things, revelations, confrontations, characters coming to an end, and all these other things. Of course, everything going on with Sadie Sink's character, must watch, certainly had me talking for weeks with my friends and cohorts. This show still has what it takes, and I really hope this isn't a hit or miss situation like Star Trek, and that next season is as good as this, because if it is, we will be in heaven.
Number 8.
The Bear. This premiered earlier in 2022, and I denied it. Constantly being advertised for me on Hulu. I'm ducking, I'm diving, I'm like, it looks like Lip from Shameless just being a cokehead in a kitchen. Which, on one level, it is that, but on a greater level, they say a lot of things about kitchen workers. It's the complete analysis of all things cooking and a great drama to match. It talks about fancy French restaurants, but it also is able to talk about greasy spoon diners and short order cooks and everything in between this massive divide and what it is to be a cook. It's very Chicago, it's very working class. I love it, and I gotta say, the main guy who plays Lip from Shameless, he is not Lip. He has ascended from that position, and he's not the same old boring character you would have thought. Please check out The Bear, only on Hulu.
Number 7.
Wednesday. How could I not have Wednesday on this list? I know I was gonna like Wednesday. I was like, oh, this looks promising. As soon as I heard it announced a couple of years, I was like, Wednesday with psychic powers in a school full of weirdos? Okay, let's check this out. But the tongue-in-cheek nature of it is just so much fun. It's almost like Buffy the Vampire Slayer for a new generation. When I say that, it's not exactly like Buffy, but what it is it has all the values of modern young people, but just projected in today, but the same elements of Buffy, being a young girl, navigating school, friends, and fighting the supernatural. I really, really enjoyed this. I can't wait for more episodes. To be honest, I would love a young Morticia and a Gomez spinoff. That would be freaking amazing. Well done, Jenna Ortega.
Number 6.
House of the Dragon. Another show like Andor that could have been like number 2 or number 3, because it really was riveting from week to week. I just really loved it. When it was good, it was really good. However, it was bogged down by weird things like time jumps, switching out actors and not giving us a warning. So we say, who's this person they're talking to? Am I supposed to know them? We weren't even given a heads up the time. They don't even have like a little thing saying 10 years later, 7 years later. They don't, but they constantly keep speeding through the kids' lives. And you watch the kids grow up and you watch people get old and die. And I gotta say, that is annoying. Despite how annoying it is, Paddy Constantine as King Viserys is so freaking amazing. If he doesn't win an Emmy, I'm gonna lose my mind. It is wonderful. It is great. I really hope that when they get into it in season 2, they constantly do flashbacks, because really, I really enjoyed young Rhaenyra and Alicent. Great actresses. I hope to see them in much. But this show accomplished a feat which is worthy of discussing. I thought it was completely done with Game of Thrones. I thought I never wanted to watch any of their spin-offs. I was done with it after the debacle that was their last season. And yet, within one episode, I had returned to Westeros, and I was actually happy about it. I actually can erase the final season of Game of Thrones from my mind because of this. Also, Matt Smith keeping it extremely real.
Number 5.
Better Call Saul Season 6. This show has come a long way. It's one of those shows that has long gaps between its seasons, so when it premieres back, you're like, oh, this show is a thing. I almost forgot about it. Now, I'm not a lover of Season 1 of Better Call Saul. For various reasons, way too slow, not much happening. I was going to abandon this, but I stuck with it because my sister insisted that I keep checking it out. It just got better and better and better and better, to the point where I was kind of bored by all the crime stuff that was remnants of the original series, Breaking Bad, and I just wanted to see Saul Goodman and his whole lawyering and his situation with his woman and all that. And they really gave us a pretty intense ending to the series. Not many people will understand the ending, the purpose of it, or whatever, but it's one of those endings you could discuss forever and forever, and there are valid points on all ends. It's a show that makes you think, and dramatically, these people are absolutely on point. If you don't know this show, please get on it, please. For yourself.
Number 4.
Dahmer. I think it's actually officially called Dahmer. It's really called Monster, Serial Killing, Lunatic, True Stories, Dahmer. Right? But let's just call it Dahmer for right now. I've never cried so much at a show before. At the last 4 or 5 episodes had me crying. At one point it had me crying for Dahmer itself. It is such an amazing dramatic reenactment of everything going on. Now, I know there's controversy. People are like, they reenacted real victims' family members crying on the stand. That's what you gotta do for historical dramas, man. I'm saying you need to make it as accurate as possible. The fact that they dressed actors up in the clothes that people wore to court and have them verbatim read the lines from the court documents of what the victims' family members were saying before the sentencing of Dahmer was powerful, and I was in tears the entire way. Look, this show is going to make you upset, but in a good way. Well, not in a good way, in an entertaining way. There will be catharsis, and at the end, you will feel that pathos.
Number 3.
Interview with the Vampire. I was one of those people who was pissed about Louis being race-bent, and then Claudia turned out to be race-bent, and a lot of things were just changed, including the ages of the vampires and all sorts of things. But when you see it, the adaptation of Anne Rice's beautiful novels, yes, I was always a fan, warning of that. I love the movie with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, and I love her books. But the fusion of that and when this new image, this new idea, where instead of having the story of New Orleans told through the eyes of a white man plantation owner, told through a black pimp, was not only necessary, but a fascinating take on this thing. It was passionate, it was loving, it's a beautiful show. There's not an episode I dislike about it. It was breathtaking on every level. Now, you probably have to be into vampires to like this, but I think there are a lot of vampire fans out there if you're a fan of this channel, because we're all about the vampire, man. You know what I mean? I gotta say, all the performances are amazing. They all deserve Emmys. This is crazy, and I literally cannot wait. The only problem this show had was that it was only 7 episodes.
Number 2.
Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. It literally breaks my heart to have to put this at number 2. I'm actually mad at the number 1 spot for taking Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I have a problem with modern Star Trek. Discovery, Picard, all that stuff. The only thing that was cool that they've been putting out recently is Lower Decks, which is funny and fun and great. But those other two are just such an affront to the very nature of Star Trek. It's disgusting to the utter core, and I did not want to like this series. I was so disgusted. And I think they actually heard the fans, and nowadays, with the fact that all these creators and companies are going to war with the fans, like telling us to shut up and telling us that we don't know what we want, and they're going to give us what we need, which is clearly false. We're the customer, and guess what? Kathleen Kennedy, Kevin Feige, James Gunn, we're the customer, and we're always right. But that's another thing. This took Star Trek, put them back in their normal uniforms for the era that they're in, and they made a lovable, positive cast that get along and show that a delightful one-off adventures of traveling through space. The cast is phenomenal. This actually, it's only been 10 episodes, so it's not fair to compare it to other Treks, but I gotta say, it's possibly one of my favorite Treks, and if it keeps on the trajectory that it's been going for the next couple seasons, it may end up being my favorite Trek. I love Captain Pike, and I love everybody. One of the things that really annoyed me was that the pilot, the helmswoman, was not given her own story, and I really hope she gets her own story next season, but I think we're in for that. We're in for a lot of things. Now, where it goes wrong, which is only slight, anytime they mention something that happened in Discovery, as you know, some of those characters first were on Discovery and serving on the Discovery for a short time, but that's only 2 scenes out of 10 episodes, 2 minute ones. I hope they keep it up. I hope Burnham is never mentioned again. I will die happy if that happens. But other than that, this show is over the top amazing if you like science fiction, if you like positivity, if you like finishing an episode and having a smirk on your face because you had a good time. Strange New Worlds is the show for you.
And number 1,
because it's so mind-blowing and it's so next level, is Severance. Now, look at Apple TV Plus. I'm often hard on Apple TV Plus. It's not a very good streaming service. It is a streaming service that caters all of its viewing to the most elite, the richest and most elite people. And it virtue signals certain issues for certain political parties, and it just has an agenda, and a lot of their shows are anemic and not fun, and you got to be stuffy or not have a pulse to enjoy them. I've tried time and time again to enjoy Apple TV Plus shows, and I just haven't been able to. However, here we go. Severance. The story of workers at an office whose minds are separated between their work selves and their outdoor selves. The outdoor selves has no memory of what he does during his work hours, and the person in work has no memory of what's going on outside in the real world. They don't even know if they have family or not, so there's no distractions. It's fascinating. Obviously, it's a thriller on certain levels, and this exploration of all these things, and it does a great job of diving in and dissecting corporate culture. It gives examples that are very similar to Disney or other jobs that try to make their job a cult, and you have to have sheer reverence for both the company and its mythological founder. This show could be analyzed over and over again, just the one season we've seen so far, time and time again, because I think we have a timeless classic. I gotta say, this is the most amazing television show I've seen in forever. This is utterly amazing. Please check it out. And there you go. Those are my top 10 list of shows for 2022. The real question is, what were yours? Please let me know down in the comments. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Remember to keep tuning in to Voice of the Fat Mantis. So for a strep throat voice and other shenanigans, don't worry guys, I'm going to also put out some worse lists, which I'm sure you can't wait for. I know I can't wait. Until next time, ciao for now.